Howdy! Today we're going to be looking at slope. So let's go ahead and take a look at the vocabulary. So our vocabulary for slope is rate of change and slope. Let's take a look at the first example. So the first example, we want to find the rate of change. So to find the rate of change, we're going to do the change in y and we're going to divide that by the change in x. Change in x. So in our problem, our change in y is our pancakes. Our change in x is the amount of flour in cups. So we're going to subtract it, find the difference between it. So we're going to go 24 minus 12 over 4 minus 2. So again, we're going to go 24 minus 12 divide by 4 minus 2. So the change in my y value is 24 minus 12. Change in my x, 4 minus 2. Well, 24 minus 12 is going to give me 12. 4 minus 2 is going to give me 2. And I can simplify this down a little bit more. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So the rate of change for this problem is going to be 6. Let's take a look at the next example. So we want to find if we have a constant rate of change. If we have a constant rate of change, then we have a linear function. If we don't have a constant rate of change, then we don't have a linear function. So what we're going to have to do here is we're going to have to figure out the rate of change for each of these. So we're going to have to do that change in y divided by change in x 4 times. So let's go ahead and start off with the first one. It's going to be negative 3 minus negative 5 divide by 11 minus 8. I'm sorry, 8 minus 11. So again, negative 3 minus 5, 8 minus 11. So negative 3 minus 5, that's going to give me positive 2. 8 minus 11 is going to give me 3, negative. So that's the first one. Now we want to do the second one. Negative 1 minus 3, 5 minus 8. Again, negative 1 minus negative 3 over 5 minus 8. Well, negative 1 minus 3, this turns into plus right here. So that gives you positive 2. 5 minus 8 is negative 3. So it's going to be negative 2/3. My next one, 1 minus negative 1. 1 minus negative 1 over 2 minus 5. 2 minus 5. 1 minus negative 1 is 2. 2 minus 5 is negative 3. So it's going to be negative 2/3. So far, we're looking like a linear function. Let's find out with the last one. 3 minus 1. So 3 minus 1 over negative 1 minus 2. Negative 1 minus 2. 3 minus 1 is 2. Negative 1 minus 2 is negative 3. So again, we got the same thing. So this means linear function. Say the second one we got it different from the first, we can stop right there and say that this is a nonlinear function. We don't have to keep going on. Let's take a look at example 4. So with example 4, we want to determine if this is going to be a linear function. So let's do the first one. -1 minus -4, 29 minus 22. So -1 minus -4 divided by 29 minus 22. Again, change in y divided by the change in x. Well, this is going to give me 3 over 7. Do the next one. 1 minus -1 over 36 minus 29. 1 minus -1 is 2. 36 minus 29 is 7. Here we go. Not the same. So not a linear function. We don't have to keep going because we already found one issue. Since we found that one issue, we can go ahead and stop right there and just say that this is not a linear function. So that's rate of change in y divided by change in x. The next idea we're going to look at is an idea known as slope. Some people say that this is rise over the run. Well, how's that going to help us calculate it out? Well, rise is your y direction, so that's going to be y2 minus y1. Your run is going to be your x direction, x2 minus x1. And rate of change and slope are pretty much the same thing. It's the change in y over the change in x. They just got different ways of approaching it. So let's take a look at the first example. So we want to find the slope of that line. So this is going to be my x1. This is going to be my y1. Because it's my first point, that's why these are my x1 and my y1s. This is going to be my x2, and this is going to be my y2. So I just pulled it because the way the points showed up. That's it. We can also represent this by the letter m. So m slope equals y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Plug in what we know. y2 is 7 minus y1 is 4. Divide by x2 is 1. x1 is -3. 1 minus -3. Well, 7 minus 4 is 3. 1 minus -3 is +4. So my slope is 3/4. And if we were to look at this on a graph, it looks something like this. Going from left to right, it'd be a line coming up. Let's take a look at our next one. So this is going to be my x1 because it's the first point and it's my x value. This is going to be my y1. This is going to be my x2. And this is going to be my y2. Second point, x value. Second point's y value. We're using the same formula. M equals y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. My y2 is 1. My y1 is 3, so that's going to be 1 minus 3. My x2 is 4, so that's going to be 4. My x1 is -1, so 4 minus -1. 1 minus 3, -2. 4 minus -1, so that becomes 4 plus 1, which is 5. So the slope of this line is going to be -2/5. And if I was to see this on a graph, from left to right, the slope would be coming down. Think about negative numbers are low, so the slope is coming down. Let's take a look at the next one. Again, my first point, that's going to be my x1, y1. My second point is going to be my x2, y2. Using the same equation, m, or slope, equals y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. I have all the x's and y's. I'm going to plug them into that formula. So this gives me y2 is negative 5 minus negative 5 divided by x2 is 4, x1 is negative 2, minus negative 2. Negative 5 minus negative 5, that becomes negative 5 plus 5, which is 0. 4 minus negative 2 becomes 4 plus 2, which is 6. 0 divided by 6, we can do that. That is 0. So this is known as a horizontal line. It has no slope, meaning it does not go up, it does not go down. It just goes straight across. So it would look like this on the graph. And let's take a look at our last example. So my first point, that's going to be my 1, so my x1, my y1. My second point, that's going to be my 2's, x2, y2. Put those into my formula. M equals y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. I have them. I'm going to plug them in. Negative 2 minus 4 over negative 3, because that's what my x2 is, minus negative 3. Well, negative 2 minus 4, they're both the same number, so that's going to give it a bigger number. So 2 and 4 is 6. Keep the sign, so that's negative 6 over negative 3 minus negative 3 becomes 3. Negative 3 plus 3, which is 0. Here I can't do this. This is undefined. So I can't do that. I can do this one, 0 divided by a number, but I can't do a number divided by 0. That's undefined. So this is a vertical line. So if we were to look at this on a graph, it looks something like this. So we learned about rate of change and we learned about slope. Go ahead and summarize these two ideas at the bottom, and then you're going to use these to help you out with the practice.